You guys won't believe what's been going on in the green room over here. I wish you could have been a fly on the wall. Even then, after that, we would have had to kill you because some of it was confidential, the conversation we're having. So welcome. You are watching and listening to the Mia Connect Power Chat. I'm your host, Mia Voss, and I have so much firepower going on this panel that I feel like just things are weighted down and blowing up and the whole thing. So, guys, it's great to see everybody. I see everybody in the audience, so we're going to get to you here in a second. We have a ton of great comments. People are pretty excited about this issue, the two topics, which are cybersecurity, #cybersecurity, and #hacking. And there are so many different directions that we can go through this. Please make sure as you're watching the show, go over and look at the description of all these party people I got. Look at this. Dr. Danny, hey.
Hey.
Jason Palanchi, don't jack up his name. I did the first time. It's not phonetic whatsoever. Miss Lorraine. I love it. Lorian Green, hey girl.
Hey,
and Nana. Hello,
hey.
Darling. And let me clap for each one of them, and I'm gonna give them a second to talk about them. Let me pull up some quick comments here. Chef Michael Thomas is in the audience. Hey to all my comment stream friends, holla to that. Brother Ben Fisher also in. Sherry Valentine, you guys, the pressure is on because they are really excited to watch this. My brother Nazim is over in Italy speaking to my brother Dave Pipe that's in London. So this is an international thing we got going on here at Party People. Gavin Wolf is in the house and made a really great comment, but it's too long to pull up on here. And then brother Jason Weiser loves him some Jason Palanchi because he saw him speak on the show that we did for Black Lotus, and of course Mayanna, Lorian, Danielle, the whole thing. My brother Mike John, my hometown, one of his long-standing favorite IT security resources is Twit Security Now podcast. I actually listened to a little bit of that today, Mike, and did not fall asleep, so I was in good shape. And I have a feeling, so I was telling everybody in the green room that I'm just here to make this as fun and juicy as possible because it seems like a very boring subject, but of course with the last year, I mean, things have been off the chain with crazy stuff going on in the cybersecurity and the hacking world. So I'm going to introduce my panel very quickly, have them give you their quick 30-second elevator speech. I'm going to start with the boy of the group because he's here with this gaggle of women. This is Jason Palanchi with Surfwatch Labs. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you. This is kind of unusual because this doesn't reflect the state of staffing in IT or software engineering or cybersecurity. I'm the only guy, so that's good for a change.
I'm kind of digging it, absolutely. Yes. So tell us about you.
So I'm the founder and chief architect of Surfwatch Labs. Spent my career really in IT, cyber defense, cybersecurity. So that's me.
There's more to that than that, but I like that. Thank you so much and welcome. It's great to have you on this panel because we've been on another show together before. And speaking of which, yes, Mayanna, I jack up your name a lot, but I'm not going to today. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you so much, Mia. Great to be here.
Yes, tell us about you.
I help people with WordPress, SEO, conversion, security, and performance. So I'm in the trenches with them and helping them keep their site safe and take it up a notch.
Amen. Much needed, by the way. Everything that each one of these panelists are doing are something that really is keeping us in a safer place to be, which I love. So next up, I have a returning guest. It's been a long time since you've been on my little couch, girlfriend, and I don't mean that in the weird way. It just sounded.
Sorry, I didn't call after that night.
I know. I'm a little upset. Didn't call, didn't tweet, nothing.
Sorry.
Welcome to the show. Tell us about you.
Okay, so my name is Lorian Green. I do social media for Transparent Language, and the way we do it, we wind up having a lot of social media accounts, so I'm very interested in cybersecurity from that regard. But I'm also a dyed-in-the-wool hardcore gamer, so as you all know this year especially, there's been a lot of trials and travesties for gamers as far as hacking, and so I'm very interested in cybersecurity from that angle too. So I guess, you know, both personally and professionally. So I'm in those trenches.
I love it. That's why I brought you on. I knew you could talk on the issues that we're going to bring up as well as what it's like in your world. And yeah, speaking of women in the gamer world, that's always challenging, right?
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things that happened this year, right, with the Gamergate stuff. You know?
Oh, that's right. That was crazy. That's a whole other show. We should pop over to Chef Dennis's show right after this because he's going to be talking about gaming. So hop over after this. And then we also have Ah, Miss Danny Zeta Cat. Dr. D, DMZ, how are you?
I'm doing great. I've been in IT and cybersecurity since 1985, and I'm okay with saying that date.
You were 12, but that's okay.
Well, thank you. Oh, and your check is in the mail. And today I'm a consultant to the federal government in big data, data science, and cybersecurity education, and I'm an adjunct professor at George Washington University, teaching cybersecurity law and policy. And I'm interested in talking about policy creation that secures infrastructure before you start putting the technical band-aids and tissue paper and spit on them.
I love how you put that. And as you can tell, you can see why each one of these guests are here. Yeah, Dr. Danny, I wish you'd do something with your life, you know?
Yeah, I know. I'm a slacker.
Exactly. Exactly. Listen, we are ready to get started, but first I need to pop in here and thank my event patron sponsor, ndc.com, which Dr. Danny is in DC. I was there last week. You guys know they were my sponsor when I was on the show with Christine and Mia. Picked them up over here. They are so much fun. What a great place to stay. So go to ndc.com and then also just circle them on Google+. They put some cool stuff out there. What a great city DC is, by the way.
Thank you.
Man, I love it. It was really something. You guys saw that. I was live from the show last week, but yeah, I'm going to be getting my happy self back there. So, all right, without further ado, it's 7 past the hour. We've got 53 minutes to bust a nut on this whole subject. Okay, what's been happening with you guys? Let's just jump in that way, and then audience, I'm going to be watching for you too. So jump in. What's been happening with you in the cybersecurity hacking world, people?
Ghost.
Oh, she's out.
Bam.
That's the hot news today, Ghost.
All right, tell me what that means.
It's a Linux server issue, and they're patching it up. This is for your host, and a lot of hosts run Linux servers, and so there's been a patch for that. Well, a lot of them are patching, and they've got it all fixed up, and maybe we're going to be okay with that, maybe not. Stuff is still coming with it, but it's going to trickle down into WordPress is what they're talking about now, the PHP stuff, which is the language that WordPress is built on. Well, it's not just WordPress. Almost all the content management systems are built on PHP. Lots of things are built on. You order a pizza online, that's PHP. And so, we're watching for that.
And I love how you do that. You bring it into, it sounds like these big letters, especially for me, you're every woman, even though I've, been running a lot of the cybersecurity shows, but when you put it in that sense, that's when it tells me, like, this is just, it's like the internet of everything, right? It's touched and it's interwoven and everything. And can you talk real quick, Manna, you actually did a post recently that got a little cray-cray.
Oh, man, I got popped on the head. The haters came, some random thing. So I got that twice. One got hot on Google, and it was about putting a new keyboard on my app, an app keyboard for the iPad, and the terms of service on it were, we're going to get into all your business and stuff, and I went, what? No, I don't think so. I don't want, and I just happened to put that up. Man, the haters came and stayed on me all day for that, for saying that I was irresponsible, I was being sensationalism and whatever, and I needed to put that at the top of my post, and of course I did because I'm in content marketing, and I wrote another post with it talking about it, which hit even harder. But yeah, I had another one go hot too, and some WordPress folks popped me on the head for saying, inferring in any way that WordPress is not secure. WordPress is secure. It's all the stuff around it, like PHP and, the very things that it's built on. So WordPress is secure though. But yeah, I get beat up sometimes for the things that I say that are true.
Right, and this is, this is why, you guys, we're not even going to be able to touch on everything in this hour, but we're going to try to at least, because it is, everybody's very opinionated about it. It's a pretty emotional, for being such what seems like a dry subject, it is emotional. How about you, Jason or Danny? What do you, on Ghost, you want to jump in on that?
Yeah, I'll jump in. I'll go ahead. First, I'll say that no press is bad press, right? So even though you're getting popped on the head, at least it's drawing attention to the problem. So, yeah, Ghost is interesting. I don't think it's going to be as big or as widespread. Even though it does hit at Linux, which is really striking at the underbelly of most of the services on the internet. You mentioned WordPress, right? So what about ransom web? Have you guys heard of this? It's basically a new type of ransomware that affects the back end to everything like WordPress, every website or whatever. It affects the back end database and encrypts it and basically destroys it for good. You don't pay and you lose everything. It's not a case of being able to take it to somebody and get them, to get your data out. It destroys it forever. So I actually think ransom web probably will become a scourge of a lot of small businesses. Almost everybody hit by it so far has been small, and those guys have really no recourse. They're just done at that point. So
back up, back up, back up, back up, back up, back up, back up.
Right, because if you do back up, right, you basically, I mean, it's like, yeah, go ahead and take it. Now, if it's data that's sensitive, now that's another thing. So, I'm going to say it again. People, stop taking naked pictures of yourself. That's my advice. You like that?
Well, you can take them, just don't post them, right?
That's right. Just don't, just delete them from your phone. Anything else on Ghost, though? And I understand. I agree with you on ransomware. I've heard about that too, because I mean, especially I've heard that they've been hitting. And man, you brought this up on one of the shows. We had that New York Times article about some guy's mother that just got hit, and they don't know any better. You're just scared.
Yeah, and through a link. I mean, it's all that spam stuff coming through email that we're all used to of don't click those links in email and whatever. Well, they're getting in all over the place with little links. Some of these things, the only way they can make them work is for you to click a link. So it's coming through very official looking emails. It's also coming inside your site, and it looks like an update or something official on the back side too. So you got to be careful what links you click these days.
So careful.
I'd say none.
You don't know what it is, don't click, or hover over it and see where it goes.
Yeah, with Ghost, you don't even have to click on anything. It's it's pretty nasty. So.
It's inserted into it. All right, guys. What else? What else have we? I mean, I know we've touched on a lot, but let's get into Sony Hack real quick, just because that's the biggest, juiciest one. We'll just talk on that. I know that is not indicative. I was so fascinated with that. It just hit so many levels, and I don't know if you saw the link I posted, sort of the that Charlize Theron ended up, because of the Sony hack, seeing all these emails where these guys were making a crap ton more money than that were at the same level, and she ended up negotiating $10 million more for her salary based on the fact that all these emails got leaked. So that's just an aspect of it. But what's your take or your opinion on that particular hack?
Well, I have an opinion about the reaction to the hack and pulling the movie, and and then all of a sudden it's free on Netflix for a while. I just thought the reaction was unwarranted.
Ooh, what do you guys think? I like that. And I know President Obama actually piped in on that too. It's really tough. Like, what do you do? I mean, that pretty much is the crux of it, of how, what kind of fear factor do you have and how do you react to that? What do you guys think?
Well, one of the things that I thought it was an overreaction, an uneducated reaction, and a knee-jerk reaction. I thought it was unnecessary to do that, and even though there's a lot of damage control for reputation that companies go through when they say, oh my gosh, if they can hack Sony, then they can hack my grandmother. But I'm not impressed with the reaction, and I was just like, let's go, people. You
mean the reaction by Sony?
Right, by Sony, or by like the movie studios that wouldn't, or the
and the studios. Yeah, it was just
meaning because they reacted out of fear.
Right?
Yeah, they reacted out of fear instead of being a little more, you got it. They were reactive, but then you need to turn around and be proactive, and I think that's what. By sticking it on Netflix and watch, that's just one solution. Well, here you go, people. We're just going to release it on Netflix.
Right,
well,
right.
So, what does everybody else think?
I'll jump in real quick and say that for me, the most interesting thing about your comment, I agree with the overreaction viewpoint you're expressing. And to me, one of the things you can take from this is just exactly how clueless most of the business establishment is about cybersecurity right now. This generation, they can't get a grip on it. They can't get their hands around it. And again, it was just another example of they don't get it. I tweeted this morning. It popped into my head, and I tweeted this picture. My daughter was watching. She asked me what 2001 Space Odyssey was, And I saw her watching it, and the original, the initial scene where the monkeys are all around the monolith and they don't get it, that just popped into my head. I'm like, that's what's going on here. So.
Well, I mean, like just keeping your password on a computer in a file.
Say that again, Lorian.
What? Oh, I was just saying, like keeping your passwords in a spreadsheet, like on a computer. I mean, who even does that in this day and age?
Yeah. I look at the audience.
I actually think my teenagers have a better grip on cybersecurity than most C-suite members do. I really believe so.
No, you know
what? That's a great point, you guys. Don't you think that when people say that, I mean, the day and age of it being like, oh, the kids are seen and not heard. No, they're the ones you're going to when you get a new piece of equipment, you get a new phone app, you get a new phone, right? Like, help me figure this out. I'm unfrozen caveman. Help me figure this out.
Well,
Go ahead.
One of the things that, when Jason was saying about these kids are more into cybersecurity than our C-suite people, it's like, but what about the privacy issue? We'll give our firstborn to Amazon or Google or, Google Plus, Hangouts, where are we? Twitter, Instagram, all of our social media.
Yeah,
it's absurd. And then there is, there's no expectation of privacy on the internet. So anyone that thinks there is totally fooling themselves.
Nor should there be. You don't go rally.
Right.
You don't go to a rally, requesting the government be brought down because they're invading your privacy, and then go share what you had for breakfast. It's to me, it just isn't the same. There's something going on.
Big Brother has got nothing on us voluntarily giving all this stuff to Facebook and all these places, but.
Right.
I want to go back and say, though, that's one of the things somebody hit me over the head with on that Hot on Google thing about the keyboard. And just because you have some stuff out there that you voluntarily post and they get doesn't mean you can just lax out and put all these apps and stuff that ask for even more. Because here's the thing. What they hit me over the head with was, these are reputable companies. They're not going to do anything with your stuff. And I said, yes, they are. They're going to sell it to somebody else. That's how they make money. There is no free lunch.
Or somebody's going to take it from them.
Right. Or I
was going to say, that's the other thing. They may be reputable, but you don't know if somebody gets in and hacks and takes the password.
No. You don't even have to worry about that. They're going to sell it to somebody, and they have no responsibility to you for it.
That's right.
Okay,
if
they share this information with anybody else, the company you signed a term of service with, or that you agreed to, or whatever, is bound by that. But whoever they give it to is not, and whoever they give it to is not. So it's not even about stealing; they're selling it, and that's the how it gets up in the black market. They don't even have to hack and steal. It still filters into the black market.
That's right. So this is what it looks like. You get the app, and you're like, then you get like terms and conditions, and we're all like this.
Yeah.
And then we hit, and then we're done.
Yeah.
No one's reading it. No one reads the terms of service.
Of course not.
No, they're actually set up like that too. Let's see what else we've got. What else?
And actually, South Park did an episode on giving your it was pretty ridiculous.
Well, I have to agree with you on that as far as the privacy thing. Let me really dumb it down for you. It's like a woman with big boobs and a low cut top and says, "Stop looking at it." Well, yeah. How you like me now, guys?
Right. Yeah. Love the analogy. Love the analogy.
Like I said, I had to dumb it down for myself. All right. So what else do you think is hot right now too? I mean, obviously we had some crazy things last year. We had shell shock, heartbleed, social hacking. Also, you guys want to jump in on that?
Social media hacking or social engineering?
You know what? Either one. You tell me. Let's get my audience going on this one.
Well, I don't know if everybody's heard about the IRS scam, phone calls, trying to engineer money out of you.
I did see a little joke thing on that. Yeah.
Yeah, social engineering is as much about, gaining access to other people's electronic and digital data as it is, gaining access to their physical home or whatever. So that was kind of interesting, and I don't know if that's the year in review 2014 or if that's just for 2015.
Well, Phishing is a form of social engineering. It's still, in my opinion, probably the single most effective form of hacking is just phishing. There really isn't a good solution for it, and there's not likely to be. Phishing can get around any defenses.
Yeah, well, that Minecraft thing recently, they thought it was a hack, and it turned out to just be, you know, a few thousand people that fell for a phishing scam.
Right.
And one of the best things you can do for that is tell people on social media. So if you're on Facebook, you see a scam on Facebook, let your buddies know, and they let their buddies know, and it helps shut it down. So awareness is prevention, too.
What a great point. You're right, because yes, right. You see all those, which I love. Oh gosh, I'll have to think of it. There's different sites you can go to too, where you can just see like what's a scam or what's just when you see people do those cautionary things. You're like, dude, did you even go look that up? That's not even real. So you have
like
to.
Snopes does.
Snopes.com. Thank you. That's what I was like. Snopes, go look, because I mean everybody's probably gotten burned on that when they posted something that seemed so valid, and then I was like, dude.
So hey, since we got a gamer in the house, I want to hear about Lizard Squad and Xbox on Christmas Day.
Oh my gosh,
Lizard Squad. Yes.
So like on Christmas Eve, we were hanging out with these friends of ours, like watching stuff on, Xbox Live, and I was like, you guys know this, there's a chance this is going down, and they're like, what? They hadn't heard anything about it, so it was almost like, it was really sad, but it was like just watching a train wreck, because sure enough, you start to see things go down, and you're hoping, okay, they had advanced warning, Sony and Microsoft, they knew this was coming, maybe they can stop it, and of course, nobody stops it. It happened. So yeah, and then there's this big rivalry going on now between Lizard Squad and Anonymous, and it's scary. It's like watching two tigers fight with each other, and you're in the cage there with them.
Well, the Xbox thing was a reprisal for taking down the Tor network that Anonymous is on, right? I mean, it was them. It's kind of a revenge hit.
Well, I think what happened. So the way I understand it is. Anonymous doesn't care at all about PlayStation Network and Xbox and so forth, because they more consider themselves like social crusaders, sort of. What happened was, I guess, Lizard Squad started messing around with that Tor network, and then Anonymous stepped in and said, we don't care about that other stuff, but they, took them down and, took actions against them over that. But the only reason that Lizard Squad, as far as I know, stopped doing the PlayStation and Xbox DDoSing was because Kim.com stepped in and gave them those vouchers for Mega Upload, and I think, as far as I know, they did actually stop. I mean, they sort of were true to that agreement, but then they went after another gaming site, I guess yesterday or something, and took them down.
Well, they busted one of them, didn't they? They got him?
They arrested a couple, I think, although they said for unrelated charges. So who knows?
So we'll get. I want to get into that.
Information is what they were after. Who's
right.
Yeah.
Guys, back up for a second and tell our audience about Lizard Squad real quick. And who they are. For people who are just tuning in.
I had never even heard of them before. The PlayStation stuff. And incidentally, by the way, I don't think they're the same people at all responsible for the Sony Pictures hack. It's totally different. So it gets confusing because Sony Network, Sony Pictures, and stuff, but it's different. But all I know is that there's just a hacker group, and I guess they don't like the term hacker necessarily because they think it sort of implies.
We'll get on changing that too. Yeah. Jason, how about you? Jump in on that. We've talked.
Yeah, I mean they are a semi-organized group of cyber criminals. They range, or the preponderance of them are mostly teenagers apparently. So and I think the important thing, you asked the question, who are they? The important thing is really not who they are, but what they're, how many of these people they're going to be. I mean, the attacks they launched against Xbox and PlayStation, we're just starting to see this because the availability and the low barrier of entry now for cyber toolkits, exploit kits, DDoS kits, whatever. It doesn't really matter if it's Lizard Squad today. There's another group coming right after them, and you can't stop these things. Cyber is a standoff weapon now. It's like a Tomahawk missile. I mean, there's no way to stop it. They're going to be able to do it. There isn't some magic thing that you can prevent it from happening. And when, to your point, Lori, and when I saw them threaten the Xbox network, I actually took a little bit of joy in it because my son was home from college, and I told him it was going to happen, and he said, no, it's not going to happen. Then the whole next day, he thought somehow that I could fix it, and so I had to argue with him pretty much the entire day. But I told him it would happen, and it is. You can't stop this from happening. It's Lizard Squad today. It's, who knows what next. So.
Yeah, and they put out a tool that anybody can get, and there's hackers
Yeah.
for hire networks, and
Right.
there were, when they busted them, there were, what was it, 42 or 24,000 or 42,000 people signed up for it, and that's what's so scary. You know?
Yes, it's a commodity now. Cyber crime toolkits are a commodity, just like anything else, and
Yes.
you know, it's easy to be had, and you know, we do have to fear the next generation because they're the ones who are savvy. We talked about it earlier, and you know, they're going to leapfrog the current generation because the learning curve, the time to adapt is just too long, too wide.
Yeah.
And so there'll probably be a little. I know evolutionary leaps don't really happen, but I think we may be looking at something logically like that in cybercrime.
And let's talk about the commodity of hacking in general, because hackers are not just one kind. They're white hat, black hat. Now there's this gray hat area.
Gray hats.
So
Right.
you've got some folks who are white hat hackers that are going out looking for vulnerabilities, reporting them to companies, and they get paid to help these companies shore up their stuff, right? And so we like those people because we want them proactive out there looking for vulnerabilities. And then you've got people who sell security stuff, and they're going out looking in this responsible disclosure. There was a huge thing in the development community for that. So it was like them making their name, getting the scoop, just like a newspaper reporter, and reporting, hey, there's a vulnerability, before they gave the developer of whatever it was a chance to patch it and get the patch out there. And Security keeps coming up over and over and over in the news for their disclosure. They're not actually doing anything wrong. The last time that they came up was they found a vulnerability with a company that does have a PR staff, and they do have a blog, and they have all this. Well, a lot of developers don't, and they kind of count on Security to release the information that the thing has been updated. And these people kind of got twisted up, saying, "Hey, you should have done a release with us and whatever, and not posted so fast." You know.
Seems like it sounds like a little fear-mongering type of thing. And I have to tell you what you were saying before, Jason. Yeah, that's like the war missiles. Like, that scares me almost as much as zombies. And you guys know zombies scare the crap out of me. So
Zombies.
Go zombies. And I know you're into zombies, Lori, and we're in that
Me
group.
too.
So.
But
Oh yeah.
go ahead.
Guys, real quick, let me jump in. If you're just tuning in, you're watching and listening to the Mia Connect Power Chat. I'm your host, Mia Voss, and we are talking clearly about cybersecurity and hacking. And we have Dr. Danny Zedek. Welcome, welcome. Jason Palanchi with Surfwatch. I have Lorian Green, and I have Mayanna Stevenson's of Blog 8, and they are busting out some serious info. So keep going, guys, because we also have some good, really good. Actually, real quick, Hallie Guilfoyle says, my sons could not play either one of their devices on Christmas Day, and the PS4 device was brand new. Very sad.
My kids were so bummed.
Oh my God. Mission accomplished. If they were looking to just have a really crappy Christmas for a lot of people,
Oh yeah.
job done, right?
Yeah.
So keep going, guys. Keep going. What else are you going to say?
Yeah. Well, one of the things that Jason was saying about, evolutionary leaps. I think in the cyber world, cyber evolution, it's going to happen, and it's happening, and you don't have to be this bit flipping programmer to be, just a script kiddie who is going to go in and, DDoS some small company. And we'll start with the small ones, and we'll move up to, Department of the Army. We'll move over to General Electric, some other large firm. And it's not going to take a lot of technical savvy or programming savvy to do that. It doesn't now. There's a lot of kits that are free, that are distributed by hacker organizations, organizations that use the deep web, which, what are we going to do?
Yeah, it's scary.
Just opening that up. Yeah.
I mean, one of the scary things to me is so I'm a big music fan, right? And I've read a lot of books. I think probably one of the most influential bands of all time, if not the most influential band, is Led Zeppelin, right? And I remember reading a
big statement, and I like
it. So a biography of Zeppelin I read a few years ago. They walked outside of a club, kind of at the height of their popularity, and this kid ran up and spit in their face, and that kid was Billy Idol, right? And what he represented was really the punk movement. And I think to your point about the evolutionary leap, one of the scariest things to me is that the cybersecurity establishment right now is ill-equipped to deal with this younger generation. They don't have any respect for a CISO's perfect role, for CISSP standards or whatever. They don't care. and they're sort of innovating in a newly generational way that it's just like Billy Idol to Zeppelin. He didn't like it. He represented something new, and actually the more frightening thing is what's to come as a result of that.
I think so.
I really like that analogy too.
Yeah, I want to speak to that, though, about what we're looking at that they're dealing with and bring it down into terms that people can understand. Okay, so we know all this. This is really scary, but how does it affect me? And so I want to bring it down to that. So these kids are not working on mainframes. They're working with their iPhones. That's what they know how to hack. And so this Internet of Things is getting hit at an unprecedented level because it's in the hands of everybody. They know it's in the hands of a lot of people who don't know how to protect themselves with it, and it's the thing that they can hack. So their Xbox is something they can tear into and hack it. So that's why this Internet of Things is getting to be so scary, is we need to be very proactive about protecting ourselves for all the stuff that we've got, like our routers, like our Xbox, like our phones, because that's being used in attacks, and it is being attacked itself to steal the information off it.
Yeah,
and it's definitely.
I'd like to. Yeah, I'd like to say something. Okay, I'd like to say something about the Internet of Things. If people just arguing about what you have at home, how many internet-connected devices do you have? I think the average for each person in the United States is about 4. So we got our phones, we got our wireless printers, we have 1 or 2 computers, we got a laptop, maybe an iPad, a tablet computer,
a fridge,
or a desktop, or your refrigerator. Microsoft always wants to get a little piece of your appliances.
Home security system.
Yeah, anybody that does. Some of the cable companies are offering home security now, and you're like, you can lock your doors from your smartphone.
Right, turn off your iron, reset your VCR. Right. And real quick, I want to jump in from the everyman perspective, too. It's done in such a way as if, like, you need to plug everything in. It's very Philip K. Dick / Jetson-y, right? The Jetsons of just this convenience of just from this one little thing, you can, change your pants, do whatever you want. So.
Right. Everything, it's like everything has an IP address. Everything's going to have an IP address from our weapon systems, and our military, airplanes, ships, components on those devices, all the way down to our refrigerator, like Jason said.
Yeah, it kind of struck me.
So what do we do? How do we secure all of that? Are we going to be reactive and proactive?
Well, when don't even, like, half the people don't even put a password on their wireless router.
Yeah, what? Or they're broadcasting the SSID. I mean, come on. Really?
What a great line. You just said, I'm going to nail it down. Everything has an IP address.
Right.
I mean, that's the scariest thing. Jason, you were going to
password protect everything that does. And really strong passwords, man. Password 123 ain't it.
I fight with my husband on that all the time. He hates my password.
Is it his birthday?
No. He'd rather it be like the name of, like our friend has, or like their puppy.
Name. Yeah, the kid's name and name. Yeah.
Okay, we're doing a little bit of password shaming over here, but as well we should, right, guys? I mean, it just, like, it really, and I think this is something we talk about on a lot of the shows that Jason and Manna, we've been on, is it's just the more of, like, each of us consider ourselves to be our own company, our own SMB, right? Even if we're just working at a company. And that was one interesting thing I saw, too, speaking of which, that might be the thing that said, this was in Entrepreneur Magazine, businesses will begin to take the ex-employee menace seriously. Says the FBI warned in September that disgruntled and former employees pose a significant cyber threat to U.S. businesses. So, that's big, right? I kind of switched.
I would like to talk about, the insider threat.
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about right there. It's not necessarily ex-employees. It's internal, disgruntled, curious young employees. It's like, well, I can get into that database. I can get into the payroll database. Why not? It's there. Yeah, they would have secured it better. And it's like, yeah, no, there's a little, with this cyber evolution, there's a bit of arrogance and lack of responsibility that some of our younger counterparts are engaging in. But insider threat is a big deal. We're always looking at external DDoS or externals hacking or stealing of our credit cards from Target, things like that. But people need to turn an eye to insider threats as well. Employees, and we all have acceptable use policies where we work, but you have insider threat focus as well, not just external.
Well,
I'd like to hear what Jason has to say, or Mayanna, or Lori.
I was going to say about responsibility, and this is off a tangent if everybody wants to come back and talk about that specific thing, but the responsibility of site owners, not even looking at their account, not securing the account, throwing plugins and security things at the site. Most of the security issues are going to be in the account, and they haven't even logged in to their control panel and looked at the resource usage to see that bots are eating them alive and that kind of thing. And it's like, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing with it. I don't have anybody doing anything with it, so I'll just put it on ignore, and there's no problem until I get hacked. And taking responsibility and shoring things up. So it's not just the people poking around out of curiosity, it's also the it doesn't exist, I don't know about it stuff too.
Ostrich security. That's what I'm saying.
Ostrich security, yeah.
I'll worry about, oh, this can't happen to me, or I'll worry about it when I'm hacked.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's bringing back to
it all.
Yeah, that's bringing back to what I was saying, for each of us to really act like our own company, our own corporation, even if we're working for a company. So making sure everything that we have is shored up and secured, and then you're being proactive, not reactive. That's probably the biggest thing I'm sure everybody's finding is the difference, like you were saying, Lori, or you were talking about the hack over Christmas, is the proactive and reactive, and how different that looks when you take a little bit, the ounce of prevention cure type of thing.
Yeah.
Well, and all of us here are fairly educated on these things, and we probably represent the very topmost sliver of the population. Meaning, these small. We talked about WordPress in the beginning. WordPress is far and away the #1 choice for small business, e-commerce, small businesses, and things like that. And they have no idea what a plugin is. They don't know where it goes. They don't know what it does.
That sounds like me.
Well, I mean, it's true, and it's actually it's not shaming them and saying that. It's just things have come so far so fast. It's kind of like the 60s and 70s sexual revolution. We just jump in bed with the internet. We connect everything, and tomorrow it's gonna really be bad. And so
right. They
don't have any idea how to even go about being secure for the most part, because these concepts are not approachable. It takes a long time. It takes a lot of focus and energy, and most people have other lives. They have things to do in their life. They don't have to worry about whether their coffee pot's going to rob them at night. So it's going to be really tough to make a change. It's just going to take a long time. It's going to have to trickle down, kind of like when kind of like the way we all developed with infectious disease. Wash your hands, right? It took a long time to get to the point of knowing to wash your hands.
Now, one of my developer buddies, when I got into it over something like that with the host, and the hosting responsibility, because somebody got hacked and they're blaming their host. And, I put out a post of stop blaming your host, for your ignorance about what's going on with your site, because it's not their responsibility to do a lot of this thing and help protect you and whatever. So 2 years ago, we started seeing the rise of managed WordPress hosting for that reason. So things are taken care of for you, taken care of for you. But here's the thing, that $3 hosting stuff, you don't want on that. You're going to pay $30 and upwards to $100 a month now for hosting to have somebody take care of that. And I don't mean to be long-winded, but I wanted to put another analogy that he brought in about city services, that, I was blaming the victim for that. And it's like, no, man, somebody that's that ignorant about what's going on with their site, that's not a victim. And so if you're a store owner, Mia, you and I had talked about this before, if you're in a strip mall and you don't take some security measures, you're putting your store and everybody else in that strip mall and the person who owns the strip mall that you're renting from all at risk. So yes, you do have city services for things like the police, but you still lock your doors, right?
That's right.
Well, along those lines, I have a couple of friends that worked at Sony like 10, 20 years ago, and now they have problems. Now they're at risk because of, that Sony Pictures breach. So, they weren't protected by that company.
I have a couple comments from the audience. Carmen is in Spain. She's got some great comments. Dear my girl Carmen Manis, she goes, the most popular password. which I love that too. Nazim is in Italy and they've been making some comments back and forth about internationally how people are handling that too. Let's see. Yeah, we definitely have the two-step verification. I mean, that's a good start, right?
Love that.
Well, you heard it.
Just hear about the one about PayPal with the two-step verification. If you don't have it on there, that a hacker can get in, put it on, and lock you out.
Right.
So,
that's cool.
so if it's available, go put it on there, because somebody may jump the gun and put it on there so you can't get in.
Johan Clays, and thanks for showing up. He says two-step protects not only your mail but your Google Drive as well. So
good point.
I'm liking that as well, guys. Let's jump in. We're getting at 40 past the hour, but let's talk about prosecuting. I mean, this is a big deal. This is really hard to nail down, right? It just feels so amorphous. You can't really put your hands on it, but they are causing serious damage, whether that's stealing information, and time is money. That's the biggest one, right? Time is money.
Yeah, well, one of the things about international prosecution for cyber criminals is wherever they're committing the crime from, maybe that country doesn't have the laws.
Right.
Or they're not going to, for example, the I love you virus. Remember that one, Jason? The guy was from the Philippines, right?
Right, yeah.
And they didn't prosecute him. They're like, why are we...
You don't really love me.
Yeah, right. No, but it would come from someone, it would be like, oh, isn't that nice? You know, Mia sending me an I love you message. Because it would... Yeah, so, you know, in the Philippines were like, yeah, so, I mean, that was a very long time ago, but today, you know, we have a lot of cyber criminal rules, and, you know, our law is always lagging behind our technology here.
Well, that's a great point. That's a very great point. So just to add on to that, you know, what's going to happen with law enforcement? Right now, regular old crime, which, you know, cybercrime is just a subset of regular crime, what's going to happen? I mean, we don't have enough police to keep regular crime down in a lot of places, and you know, the cybercrime right now is kind of like the Wild West, right? I mean, I think about it sometimes. I'm like, you know, the things I could do if I decided to be a bad guy. But you know, it is that available that how are police, how are law enforcement going to ever hope to keep up? Are we going to create these little cyber units? You know, I have a friend who's in law enforcement, and he told me that probably in the last 3 or 4 years, they've had a 40 to 60% increase day to day in people calling up and saying, you know, everything from my daughter's being bullied on Facebook to I've got ransomware to whatever, and they have no ability to deal with it at all.
And the swatting on the flip side.
What's
right.
that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's when like they call and say there's like something really horrible going on at my neighbor's house, or like, you know, whoever's house, and you're the target, and all of a sudden the SWAT team shows up at your door. That's, you know, increasing.
Seriously, that is juicy. Who did that happen to? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of streamers, video game streamers, they'll do it just to see them get have that happen like during their stream.
Oh, I'm sure. And you guys, what was that Sony as well when they called in the bomb threat for the Sony president's flight? They knew he was he was going to take a certain flight. I mean, and I think Danny, I think you might have said it's just more because it's there. I think that's probably the biggest crux of what it is. Oh, why do it? You know, because a lot of times you can't figure out because it's there. You know, I recently I'll out somebody. How about you now? There's been somebody on Google Plus that's been going around and inviting their circles to certain people's audience. It happened to me last week. I'm like, how did 2,500 people get invited to my event? And I don't know why this person did it, but you know what the bad offside could be are people who don't have their notifications set up well, and they think I'm spamming them. Now, luckily, I did not have anything. I think it's because the audience trusts me, and peace out to you on that. But that was an interesting one, and we all were like, why would you do that? And I think it's just because I can.
Because you can. Right, and you know, and that's the attitude that we're seeing now, and like repercussions or consequences for those actions. They're like, well, it was there, and these are the same individuals. These are the same individuals that say and believe they're entitled to. You know, if it's on the internet, why isn't it free?
That's right.
Yeah.
Right. The sense of
well, I
entitlement
mean,
for it too.
no, hey,
Yeah.
that's not just hackers. Come on, Napster.
That's everybody.
No.
You know,
Oh, no, I'm not talking about just
we look at copyright law. I mean, let's go back. I was in the music business. I got out of it because of this, because it's just there's no way to make any money. And Vince Gill even said, I got this song on iTunes for 99 cents, and right beside it is a fart, for 99 cents too, sound effects.
And I know the guy who did that app, Joel Com.
But here's the thing about it. People get on there and rip stuff off. They download stuff. We're looking at copyright, international copyright law. How long have we had copyrights? How many decades? And that's not been fixed yet either. So this international coalition of dealing with cybersecurity, 40 years from now, we'll still be talking about this.
Jason made a great point that we can't even, we have the regular police when just the crime that you can, see here and see the effects. Real quick, Dr. Danny, talk about President Obama. We mentioned that in the green room too, more about what he has bringing up. There's and you got invited to it, right? Some kind of crazy little conference.
Yeah. Well, it's not a crazy conference because it's on, all the tech journals. It's the Stanford Cybersecurity Summit, and the President of the United States is going to be attending, and it's on Friday the 13th of February.
Love that.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that great? Yeah, we're not poking at anything here. And, they talk a lot about, they'll be, talking a lot about policy and technical policy as well as infrastructure policy and laws that the United States has. But this international border, we're global now. There's no reining this in until after sometimes the horses have left the barn.
That's right.
It just seems like every semester when I'm teaching information law and policy, there's something new, there's something we forgot, and there's something sensational in the press, like the Sony Hack or the Edward Snowden incident, that we have to address as a cybersecurity body in the United States, in our corporations, in our private lives. And it's just going to get worse, like Jason mentioned. We're just going to have to keep being vigilant. I hate to use that word because that's all we hear from Capitol Hill these days.
Right, and you're in it. You're soaking in it because you're in D.C., so you definitely...
I am in D.C., yes, ma'am.
That's the old Madge commercial. You're soaking in it.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to throw out a couple. We're at 47 past the hour. Just a couple. This might be incendiary, but what do you think about the potential of, just because I am such a apocalyptic monger of things being, I said it. Zombies.
Zombie apocalypse.
I'm ready to throw
real.
down. I am. I got my jam out bag, my bug out bag. I'm ready to throw down. But what do you think is the threat for the actual infrastructure, or taking down our financial system, or taking down like a city's grid, like that type of thing? What do you think the chances are of that, just to scare the pants off of me? Like I can't sleep at night already. Anybody?
100%.
Taking 100%. Taking down the internet hubs is getting to be fairly easy. Those huge DDoS attacks are overwhelming this older infrastructure of the hubs that all the wires of the internet run through that carry it all over the place. And when the hubs go down in between, then you can't get whatever's between you and wherever the files are. So taking those things down, it's costing a pretty penny for those companies to change out that old infrastructure and that's being overwhelmed and switch around it. So you may not be able to get to the grid or whatever, but you can cut off everybody's access going through a hub, and a whole part of the country just can't get on the internet.
Yeah, it's not only the college did an exercise called a Digital Pearl Harbor.
Wow.
It was a long time ago. Yeah, Digital Pearl Harbor, and quite feasible today by if you want to call them terrorists, cyber terrorists, and who's studying our transportation system, our electrical system, or other infrastructures. Yeah, quite feasible. Technology's cheap. Technology's cheap.
Yeah, it is, and we were talking earlier, I believe it was you, Danny, that alluded to insider threat being a big problem. That's the area that I see insider threat being the most devastating is, we've all heard it, right? People go into the post office and they go into the workplace and they shoot up the place, right? Well, how much more likely is it when a little bit of knowledge is really devastating as people learn how they can exploit information technology systems? Those folks that work at nuclear power plants, that work at dams, that work at other utility companies. I mean, the insider is probably the biggest threat there in terms of bringing a city down in terms of power grid or what have you.
Real quick, my brother Brian Shea's out in the audience. He's a good comment, and I'm not pulling up comment tracker because you guys know how Google makes things break. Sorry, Google, but I'm right. He says our overall problem is we now have big boy tools in the hands of, untrained, inexperienced kids. Anyone can build a website, create a Wi-Fi network, claim to be a marketer. That kind of sums it up, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I knew that we were in trouble when my son knew what Wireshark was. And all of a sudden I realized that.
And how old is he?
He's in college now. That was a couple years ago. He's 20.
But at the time, he totally knew what it was about. Any other things? Because we're going to wrap it up here, just because I want to take some time for you guys to give that. Let's. Can we go through and just give your one piece of advice you want to give to everybody, you guys? I know that's putting you on the spot, but we've covered so many different things. So go to your forte and tell me what you want to give advice to our audience on. Lorian, you're up.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess this is to buy you guys some time. So I guess I would say, obviously the two-step verification, do that. And on top of that, as you become more and more, then that makes your mobile device your kind of key, then definitely have a lock password on that. And again, don't make that simple. I guess, and just make complex passwords and keep them somewhere that's not on your computer in a text file or an Excel file, I guess.
I outed myself.
I want to follow that to say, not only strong passwords, but make each one unique for each account. Don't use Don't use the same password email combo for everything.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's like I feel like they're just talking right at me. Which,
I know, and I know
it's good. Listen, I did this show for myself. You guys know I just have this show so I can learn the stuff I want to find out.
No, it's a pain in the butt for me too, because I'll be at some device I'm not usually at, and I'm like, I don't remember what my password is for this site. It's back at home somewhere, because
but that's
I don't have it with me.
Yeah, and this is
$12 a year to get it on mobile and everything that you've got. So.
I would like to hear what you guys have to say about that. Those
can we do that? LastPass. I was going to ask. I completely trust you guys of that. So man, jump on that and then give us your.
Yeah, there's several of them. OnePass, LastPass. There's several of them out there, and there's a free version, so you can have it on one device. But like $12 a year, $1 a month, guys, or come on, and you can have it on all your devices. You have to remember one password. You make that one really strong, and you use that to log into LastPass.
Ooh, boom! Throws down the mic.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a really good one. Hey, I have a quick comment. This is a good one too from Richard O. How about hacking water supplies and water sanitation centers? Hashtag worse than zombies. I'm gonna have to that one's tough.
Agreed. Yeah, that's like what I was talking about when we're looking at our transportation systems, our water systems. About 20 years ago in Australia, insider threat, disgruntled employee decided to dump sewage into the fresh water supply.
Oh,
and that was a long time ago.
That's crappy.
And,
literally.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
You guys can tell that I turned even paler after this discussion.
Oh my gosh! But I know Lorian and I are ready for this for the zombie thing too. So
I welcome it at this point. I'd rather face.
Right. I know how to handle that.
Yeah.
Yep. Shoot them in the head.
Yep.
Double tap.
Double tap.
Cardio, also important.
Yes.
Hey, man,
cardio, first rule of Zombieland.
I know. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. First rule of Zombieland, then double tap. I knew I loved you for a reason, more than just your smart brain. There's that too. Man, real quick, did you have any other last advice you wanted to throw out to us?
Yeah, just don't do that ostrich thing. Be aware that it is happening. You were in a bad neighborhood. And it's not a matter of if you're going to be hacked. It's a matter of when.
Absolutely.
Be prepared.
Exactly. Jason, how about you, brother?
I think I'd divide it up. There's so much that you could start with. I divide it up into kind of advice for consumers and advice for businesses. For consumers, get ready, be prepared to handle a little extra inconvenience. I mean, one of the reasons that banks don't enforce two-factor authentication is because they're worried that customers will complain. And so, we're in a world where you're going to have to put up with some extra inconvenience if you want to be secure and you don't want your information all over the place. So I would say that's kind of the number one thing, because I hear it all the time. People, well, I don't want to do that. I don't want to have to click twice. Well, that's ridiculous, right? So the second thing is businesses really do need to treat the cyber problem as here and in your face and real. Everybody I talk to every week, I think most of the public would be completely shocked at how the leaders of large corporations, I give you an example, Home Depot, after they got breached, the CEO said, well, I thought we were in a good place. I thought we were positioned. And the thing is, they don't. They don't care. They really don't yet care, and so they're going to have to care and make it a frontline issue. So.
I love it. And then, Danny, I'm going to have you, give us some last advice, and we're going to go back through. Can you tell me what you're bat crap crazy about, by the way?
My dog.
Yeah, give me both.
Yeah, I'm going to get it. Oh, my final line for everybody.
Yeah.
I was Jason stole my thunder on that. For businesses, you got to have your policy first, your infrastructure policy. You got to have your stakeholder buy-in at the highest management level, and implement, and don't do the ostrich thing that Diana said. Don't do that. For people, get the one pass or the last pass and make that password super strong. Don't put your kids' names or your kids' year of birth. That's just not good. That's just not good. Or your address.
Dumb. Hashtag stupid. Everybody's loving the last pass and the one pass. They're all starting to get a little great crazy on it. I love. I had one from Denver Prophet. All this scary talk. He needs a teddy bear, by the way. So.
Right. Yeah. Right.
All right. And tell me real quick, Danny, what you're bat crap crazy about. This is where you get to shout out something that you love.
Yeah. I will find my bat crap crazy thing. Hold on a second. It's my dog.
Okay.
Hudson.
Oh, see, now you know that.
Asleep, man. Yeah, move on to the next person. I'll grab him.
Okay, grab him. And then, Jason, real quick, your call to action and what you're bat crap crazy about, brother.
I was really unprepared for the bat crap crazy thing.
That's why I like to spring it on you.
Let's see.
Person, place, or thing you love, something you want to shout out.
So can I take it another direction, which is actually crazy. I'm going crazy. I'm moving for the 4th time in a year, and I hate moving with a passion. So that's driving me crazy.
No, you're taking it on the crappy bat crap crazy. I'm with you, brother. Right, hang in there.
Right. Moving is the worst thing in life.
Hire a mover, brother. Don't just do beer and pizza. Yeah, seriously. What's your call to action for us? Where do you want us to go to find you?
Go to find me at surfwatchlabs.com or just at Jason Palanchi. I know you probably won't be able to spell that, but go to surfwatchlabs.com and you can look up my last name. So that's where I am.
I'll pop everybody's links in there. Let me go back to Dr. Danny real quick. Who's these? Hi.
Yeah, this is Hudson. This is Hudson. Yeah, he's my bad crap crazy 11-year-old English setter rescue dog.
Look at that, Bubba. I like how his snatch on each side of his eyes. He's he's pretty boy. I love that. Thank you for coming on the show. And hey, I'm gonna do your call to action as datasociety.co, which is how I met you. Shout out to Dimitri for introducing us. He was on our show last week. So go to datasociety.co. Dr. Danny's a part of that whole cray awesome group.
Yeah, they are awesome people providing data science education for the general public, and I'm one of their guest speakers during their next big training boot camp.
Yes, they're doing it right, and I'm going to have them back on again too. So thank you so much for coming on, and Jason for coming on too. And then Laurie, thank you. What's your bat crap crazy, and where do you want us to go, girlfriend?
Oh, well, so I tried to prepare a couple on-topic bat crap crazy things. The first thing is Sophos Naked Security's Facebook page. First off, as a social media person, I love what they're doing. They're doing social media right. Second off, as just from a personal standpoint, I love following them. They always have all the news. Like, they're fantastic. So definitely them. And after this hangout, I'm sure we're all going to be in an all-cash society, so I'd like to give a little shout-out to where'sgeorge.com, which is sort of like Ingress for the banking world. Like, you basically just, like, register dollar bill things, and you can track where they've been across the country, and so it's super cool. So Now
Oh
that I'm
my
going to be
God.
handling a lot of cash.
Boom, I love that. We're going to post all those in there too. And then we follow you at Lorian Green on Twitter.
Yep, yeah, that's the easiest. Or, plus Lorian Green on Google.
Super, super fun. She's going to put it in there. Sweetie, thank you for coming on. I so appreciate it. It's great to have you back on the couch again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, don't be a stranger. Let's hang out.
Right, I know. Well, when I am speaking Italian in 2 months, I'm going to attribute that to you. So
Fabulous.
Yeah, grazie.
Molto bene.
That's it, molto bene. That's all I got right now.
There you go. Well, me too. So.
Man, how about you, sweetie? What are you bat crap crazy about? Where do you want us to go?
Getting to see you and Denise live in just a few months, man. You're going to be
Holla.
in my zip code.
I am. Blog
Take you out for
pause.
some barbecue.
That is going to be so fun. Yay.
Yeah, it is.
That is a good bat crap crazy. I can't wait for that. We're going to post the links for blog pause too, because Denise and I are going to be on stage together hanging out. So, and then we're going to be hanging out with you too. So, thank you. And what do you want us to go? Blogaid.net?
That's it. Blogaid.net.
Amen. And yeah, listen, talk to Manna too. But you're doing the site that you're going through people's the site reviews, right?
Yeah, site audits. Yep.
Site audits, yeah, and we've been talking about getting mine. So listen, guys, we're gonna wrap it up because Sheffy's show is starting. I didn't do what's on the bottom because I knew it would take too long, but I will give you what's on the bottom for me. Just my socks and my bare feet, my jeans. What's on the bottom? That's it. My back crab crazy definitely is for Super Bowl this weekend. I'm kidding. Because you're trying to be like, what is she talking about? I'd go with Walking Dead starting up in approximately, I think it's 10 days, but I don't know how many hours and minutes, but it's coming.
Woohoo!
Can't wait, can't wait. Guys, go follow everyone that's on my panel. Again, I will list that all. Another quick shout out to ndc.com, our event patron sponsor for today. Love, love, love them. And when you are in DC, that is the place to stay, which is where I was last week. I'm just saying. That's it for the cybersecurity hacking, the Mia Connect Power Chat, guys. We'll see you on the next episode.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
You guys won't believe what's been going on in the green room over here. I wish you could have been a fly on the wall. Even then, after that, we would have had to kill you because some of it was confidential, the conversation we're having. So welcome. You are watching and listening to the Mia Connect Power Chat. I'm your host, Mia Voss, and I have so much firepower going on this panel that I feel like just things are weighted down and blowing up and the whole thing. So, guys, it's great to see everybody. I see everybody in the audience, so we're going to get to you here in a second. We have a ton of great comments. People are pretty excited about this issue, the two topics, which are cybersecurity, #cybersecurity, and #hacking. And there are so many different directions that we can go through this. Please make sure, as you're watching the show, go over and look at the description of all these party people I got. Look at this. Dr. Danny, hey.
Hey.
Jason Palanchi, don't jack up his name. I did the first time. It's not phonetic whatsoever. Miss Lorian. I love it. Lorian Green, hey girl.
Hey,
and
everybody.
Manna. Hello,
Hey.
darling.
Hey.
And let me clap for each one of them, and I'm gonna give them a second to talk about them. Let me pull up some quick comments here. Chef Michael Thomas is in the audience. Hey to all my comment stream friends, holla to that.
And today I'm a consultant to the federal government in big data, data science, and cybersecurity education. And I'm an adjunct professor at George Washington University, teaching cybersecurity law and policy. And I'm interested in talking about policy creation that secures infrastructure before you start putting the technical band-aids and tissue paper and spit on them.
I love how you put that. And as you can tell, you can see why each one of these guests are here. Yeah, Dr. Danny, I wish you'd do something with your life, you know?
Yeah, I know. I'm a slacker.
Exactly.
Total slacker.
Listen, we are ready to get started, but first I need to pop in here and thank my event patron sponsor, ndc.com, which Dr. Danny is in DC. I was there last week. You guys know they were my sponsor when I was on the show with Christine and Mia. Picked them up over here. They are so much fun. What a great place to stay. So go to ndc.com and then also just circle them on Google+. They put some cool stuff out there. What a great city DC is, by the way.
Thank you.
Man,
I love it.
It was really something. You guys saw that. I was live from the show last week, but yeah, I'm going to be getting my happy self back there. So, all right, without further ado, it's 7 past.
Reflect the state of staffing in IT or software engineering there. Cybersecurity, I'm the only guy, so that's good for a change.
I'm kind of digging it, absolutely. Yes, yes. So tell us about you.
So I'm the founder and chief architect of Surfwatch Labs. Spent my career really in IT, cyber defense, cybersecurity. So that's me.
There's more to that than that, but I like that. Thank you so much and welcome. It's great to have you on this panel because we've been on another show together before. And speaking of which, yes, Nana, I jack up your name a lot, but I'm not going to today. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you so much, Mia. Great to be here.
Yes, tell us about you.
I help people with WordPress, SEO, conversion, security, and performance. So I'm in the trenches with them and helping them keep their site safe and take it up a notch.
Amen. Much needed, by the way. Everything that each one of these panelists are doing are something that really is keeping us in a safer place to be, which I love. So next up, I have a returning guest. It's been a long time since you've been on my little couch, girlfriend, and I don't mean that in the weird way it just sounded.
Sorry, I didn't call after that night.
I know, I'm a little upset. Didn't call, didn't tweet, nothing.
Sorry.
Welcome to the show. Tell us about you.
Okay, so my name is Lorian Green. I do social media for Transparent Language, and the way we do it, we wind up having a lot of social media accounts, so I'm very interested in cybersecurity from that regard. But I'm also a dyed-in-the-wool hardcore gamer, so as you all know this year especially, there's been a lot of trials and travesties for gamers as far as hacking, and so I'm very interested in cybersecurity from that angle too. So I guess, you know, both personally and professionally. So I'm in those trenches.
I love it. That's why I brought you on. I knew you could talk on the issues that we're going to bring up as well as what it's like in your world. And yeah, speaking of women in the gamer world, that's always challenging, right?
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things that happened this year, right, with the Gamergate stuff. You know?
Oh, that's right. That was crazy. That's a whole other show. We should pop over to Chef Dennis's show right after this because he's going to be talking about gaming. So pop over after this. And then we also have Miss Danny Zedek, Dr. D, DMZ. How are you?
I'm doing great. I've been in IT and cybersecurity since 1985, and I'm okay with saying that date.
You were 12, but that's okay.
Well, thank you. Oh, and your check is in the mail.
The Ben Fisher also in. Sherry Valentine, you guys, the pressure is on because they are really excited to watch this. My brother Nazim is over in Italy speaking to my brother Dave Pipe that's in London. So this is an international thing we got going on here at Party People. Gavin Wolf is in the house and made a really great comment, but it's too long to pull up on here. And then brother Jason Weiser loves him some Jason Palanchi because he saw him speak on the show that we did for Black Lotus, and of course Mayana, Lorian, Danielle, the whole thing. My brother Mike John, my hometown, one of his long-standing favorite IT security resources is Twit Security Now podcast. I actually listened to a little bit of that today, Mike, and did not fall asleep, so I was in good shape. And I have a feeling, so I was telling everybody in the green room that I'm just here to make this as fun and juicy as possible because it seems like a very boring subject, but of course with the last year, I mean, things have been off the chain with crazy stuff going on in the cybersecurity and the hacking world. So I'm going to introduce my panel very quickly, have them give you their quick 30-second elevator speech. I'm going to start with the boy of the group because he's here with this gaggle of women. This is Jason Palanchi with Surfwatch Labs. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you. This is kind of unusual because this doesn't